U.S. Marshals took Ivanka Trump's passport. According to court papers filed on Friday, February 6, federal agents came to Ivanka Trump's home in Miami at 6:47 in the morning. They left with her travel papers, $127 million, 23 fake companies, 2 years of looking into things, and one 2-hour statement under oath that no one expected. I have read all the court papers, all 187 pages. The news headlines only told you the simple parts. What is really in these papers changes the story. Melania Trump spoke under oath behind closed doors about her stepdaughter. The official record says she answered 147 questions, took one short break, and did not use her right to stay silent. This is the moment the case changed direction. Let me explain what happened. Here is some quick background. Ivanka Trump used to be a top advisor in the White House. She is Donald Trump's daughter. She runs several business groups that are registered in 6 different states. The problem is this: new records that came up show a pattern of money moves. Federal investigators say these moves are money laundering through a group of LLC companies. Those are not my words. Here is the quick timeline of the charges. Months ago, a grand jury started meeting in Manhattan. They sent out requests for papers. Ivanka's lawyers began fighting those requests. Weeks ago, a federal judge said no to her request to stop them and ordered her to give everything. Days ago, things changed a lot. Melania went into a federal building in Washington. 2 hours later, she came out. The next morning, Marshals came to Ivanka's door. That order of events is important. Here is what I can tell you. From public information, this investigation began with the Trump Organization. Then it grew bigger. It found something in the family setup that the prosecutors thought was useful. For some reason, Melania chose to help them. That is the basic setup. The court papers explain the reason. I read them 3 times over the weekend and picked out the important parts. Let me explain what I found. Okay, the evidence starts with the first paper filed on Friday. I looked at page 43. It says, and I quote, "The defendant helped move money from Trump Organization side company accounts to a company registered in Delaware that had no clear real business reason." That is not my opinion. That is what the court paper says. It means money was moved. Where it went does not look right on the records. But this is what surprised me. On page 89, in another part, the court papers say that between March 2023 and November 2024, Ivanka Trump's name was on 31 different wire transfer approvals. They added up to $84.7 million. The money went to a Cyprus holding company, a company in the Cayman Islands, and a Nevada LLC with no workers, no income, and no office space. Put all that together. Yes, it shows a clear pattern. I checked this 3 times. The thinking is simple. Money left Trump Organization accounts. It went through Ivanka's own business group. It ended up in companies that only exist on paper. Everything is written down in the records on pages 91 to 113. Now something no one is talking about much. Exhibit F is hidden on page 47. Checked money records show that Ivanka herself took out $3.2 million in cash or similar over 14 months. She never took more than $9,500 at one time. Read that again. $9,500 over and over. The federal rule for reporting is $10,000. Anything under that does not get reported automatically. The court paper calls this structuring. Prosecutors call it proof that she meant to do it. Results so far: passport taken until the trial, $15 million bond, travel limited to the Southern District of New York within 72 hours after Melania spoke. Now here is the part that links it all. The official record says Melania told investigators she heard several talks where Ivanka talked about keeping money moves below the reporting limits. A direct quote from the court paper. Witness MT testified that the defendant said keep it under 10, always under 10. That is on page 156, paragraph 14. One more thing. On page 162, prosecutors say Ivanka knew a lot about federal reporting rules because of her job in the government. They are not just saying she did it. They are saying she knew exactly what she was doing. Summary of proof: 31 wire transfers, $84.7 million. 3 companies outside the country with no real work, 89 structured cash takes under $10,000. Statement from someone who saw it directly, pattern over 20 months. Legal experts say this is one of the best recorded money laundering cases with a former White House person in recent years. Not just one clear proof, but a whole lot of them. And now it is all in public court papers. That is just the money proof. The Melania statement is separate and big. Subscribe. I will explain what she really said and why it matters more than the numbers. The story is still going on. I will keep following it. Okay. But to be fair, the other side has some good points. A few points, really. People who care about the Constitution say this is unfair targeting. They call it a political attack using the court system. And honestly, some parts of their argument make sense. First, the timing. This investigation got stronger right before election time. Is it a coincidence? Maybe yes, maybe no. Second, using family. Using Melania's words against Ivanka. They say that is forced, that prosecutors pushed one family member to turn on another. Third, the structuring charge. Defense lawyers say taking cash under $10,000 is not illegal by itself. You have to prove she meant to avoid the rules. Alan Dershowitz, a Harvard law professor who is retired, said it like this: structuring needs proof that the person meant to avoid the rules. Just a pattern does not prove a crime. I do not agree with everything they say, but it is not nothing. They point out there is no direct proof from the money moves themselves, that Ivanka knew the reporting laws. Also Melania's trustworthiness as a witness. Because of family problems, questions about whether prosecutors went too far. Even Jonathan Turley, a constitutional law professor at George Washington University, says this case brings up serious questions about using family statements and the timing of the charges. Look, I am not here to say who is correct. The prosecutor's view, the proof supports money laundering, wire transfers, fake companies, structured cash takes, a classic case. The defense view, proof of messy records, complicated family business, and political targeting, not always a crime. Both ways of seeing it exist. That is why this is hard. Here is what the defense filed on Thursday. Court papers show Ivanka's lawyers say the outside companies had real business reasons, like deals for licenses around the world and contracts to manage the brand. They gave 47 pages of business papers, contracts with companies in other countries, income reports. Their side, the money moved because the business moved. Nothing bad. They also attacked Melania's statement straight on. From the defense request, page 23. Witness MT has big personal and money reasons to give words that help the prosecutors. In simple terms, Melania might have her own reasons to help that have nothing to do with what really happened. Family relationships can be complicated. Everyone who follows this knows that. And here is the hard truth. Prosecutors have brought weak structuring cases before. They lost them. The law needs proof that the person knew about the $10,000 limit and carefully set up moves to avoid it. Just knowing it happened is not enough. That is a real problem for them in court. Defense lawyer William Brennan, with 37 years in federal criminal defense, said the government needs more than a pattern. They need proof she did this on purpose to avoid reporting. That is the battle coming. What I can tell you is the papers show both sides have strong points. The trial will not be easy, but there is a reason the judge let them take the passport. A reason the bond is $15 million. A reason Melania's statement was behind closed doors and not in open court. The prosecutors believe they have something strong. This did not start from nothing. Quick background. More than a year ago, the Manhattan DA's office grew its investigation from the Trump Organization to separate family members. Requests for papers went out. Months ago, Ivanka fought every request using claims of special protection and government job immunity. All were turned down. Weeks ago, the grand jury got more time. That meant they were not finished. A person who knows the investigation told reporters clearly, "We knew the focus had moved to Ivanka herself." The requests for papers became very specific. What happened next? The usual thing when someone fights requests. Investigators got more interested. They started digging deeper. There was a pattern of slow answers to court orders, missing papers, and changing stories from lawyers. Each time, more attention came. The secret charges were filed weeks before Friday's action. Prosecutors kept them hidden and waited. Why Melania? Court papers say prosecutors talked to Melania in late January and offered her a chance to speak privately. She said yes. That is when the case changed. Before she spoke, prosecutors had papers and bank records. After she spoke, they had reasons, explanations, and direct words from someone about private talks until Thursday. Before, this was just a paper case. Thursday made it about real people. One family member spoke under oath for 2 hours about another family member. That is the background. Now you see why Friday went the way it did. See where this is heading. The family part is the main story. Hit like if this makes sense. I know this is a lot of information, but knowing the background matters. Otherwise you just see headlines like this. Friday, February 6, 6:47 a.m. Eastern Time. According to court papers, 4 U.S. Marshals came to Ivanka Trump's home on Star Island in Miami. They showed a court order and asked for her passport. Her lawyer was on the phone in minutes. He called the judge on duty and asked for an emergency stop. It was denied. The court said there was enough proof of risk she might leave the country because of her business connections around the world and access to private planes. That came from the denial paper filed at 8:12 a.m. No room to talk it over. None. What happened next? She gave up the passport at 7:23 a.m. A bond hearing was set for that afternoon. $15 million bond was set by Friday evening. GPS tracking was put on before she left the courthouse. 4 hours. That quick. Now what most people missed. While news focused on the passport, something else happened. The court made Exhibit G public. That part has 67 pages of messages, emails, texts and voice records. Then the judge did something not normal. She ordered Ivanka's lawyers to give up all devices used for business messages since 2021. Laptops, phones, access to cloud storage. They have until Wednesday, February 11th to do it. Former U.S. Attorney Barbara McQuaid said it was very unusual. This was not just reacting, it was planned. You can see it in the order of events. Thursday, Melania speaks under oath. Friday morning, Marshals come. Friday afternoon, more papers made public. Friday evening, order to give devices. Prosecutors were not rushing. They had a plan. And here is what is interesting. The device order came after they took the passport, not before. That means prosecutors think there is more to find. They have what Melania told them. Now they want to check it against Ivanka's own messages. They are searching for deleted messages, secret talks, anything that agrees with or disagrees with what Melania said under oath. This is where the case gets stronger or weaker. The devices will show the truth. Do not go away. Next I will explain why this matters beyond just the Trump family. Put your guess in the comments. Do you think the device search finds something, or will this fall apart? Keep watching. I will give you my thoughts. What are experts saying? Former federal prosecutor Ronald Motley, 15 years with the Department of Justice. Taking the passport at this point shows prosecutors have strong proof and real worry she might leave. In simple words, they do not do this unless they are sure. Another one. Former Assistant U.S. Attorney Daniel Goldman. The Melania statement is the key part. Family witnesses are very strong and very rare. Important point. Family members almost never help. When they do, juries listen carefully. Here is something interesting. Even former Trump lawyer Tim Parlatore admits the structuring claims are serious. If the pattern is as clear as the papers show, the defense has hard work ahead. When both sides agree it is serious, pay attention. Most legal experts agree. The amount of proof is unusual at this early stage. Melania helping changes everything. The order to give devices shows prosecutors expect more proof. Taking the passport shows they are very sure. That is where the professionals stand. But there is disagreement too. Criminal defense lawyer Caroline Polisi, former federal law clerk, structuring cases are very hard to win. The part about meaning to do it is where prosecutors often fail. Constitutional law professor Ilya Shapiro added, we should be careful about cheering when political people get charged. The example it sets matters. Those are fair points. Here is my view after reading everything. Prosecutors have a lot papers, witnesses, patterns. Defense has complicated business, real deal arguments, claims of family unfairness, questions about intent. Neither side has total certainty. This is not an easy win even with the big news. But taking the passport tells you something. Judges do not do that easily. They looked at the proof and decided Ivanka Trump might try to leave. That is not a neutral sign. Former DOJ official Harry Litman said it simply. Deciding someone might run needs good reason. The judge saw enough to believe she might leave. Courts do not guess. They look carefully. Useful summary. Hit like. I know these take time to read. The like button helps get this to others following the case. Use it if this helps you understand what is going on. Why should you care? Real talk. How this touches normal people. Money. If you own shares in any business linked to Trump, watch this. Trump media stock fell 12% on Friday. Trump Organization bond prices dropped 8% by the end of the day. Money problems spread fast. Not knowing what will happen in court causes that. Your investments might be at risk without you realizing. Index funds, real estate investment trusts, bank holdings. Some investors are checking how much they have in politically risky things and talking to advisors about changing things. Not advice. Just what I see in money news. This sets an example. Next time you have a business fight, or worse, a legal problem, rules about family speaking in court apply differently. Quick example. Suppose your husband or wife knows something about your money. Your grown kids were there for a talk. Under the law now, prosecutors can talk to them, offer protection, and ask them to speak in court. This case shows they will do it. Not shocking, that is how it works. Marriage protection stops husbands and wives from being forced to speak against each other. But Melania was not forced, she chose to. And for stepchildren there is no protection at all. Who is touched right now? Court papers say the investigation found 23 people who got money from the fake company network. Business partners, workers for hire, advisors, some already have lawyers, others are said to be helping. The part no one wants to say, but it is uncomfortable. If you ever set up money moves to avoid reporting rules, you are seeing your own methods get charged. Small business owners, people in real estate, businesses with lots of cash. The government is using this case to send a message, not just to the Trumps but to everyone who thinks the $10,000 limit is just a suggestion. If you kept cash takes under $10,000 on purpose, you are part of this whether you want to be or not trying to scare anyone. That is what the law world looks like now. What smart people are doing, checking old money moves with accountants, writing down real business reasons for moving cash, asking money advisors, am I at risk? Knowing helps. The IRS has raised checks on structuring by 340% since 2020. This case is the biggest example, but not the only one. If you run a business with cash, this matters. If you ever broke a big buy into smaller ones, this matters. Talk to a professional. Learn the rules. Bigger view. What happens to Ivanka Trump will change how prosecutors around the country handle big money cases with famous people. If they win here, they get tougher everywhere. If they lose, defense lawyers get a guide. Either way, new rules are being made right now. And you are watching how Ivanka's side answered made it worse. Honestly, within hours after they took the passport, her team put out a statement calling it a political attack on the Trump family. Quote, "This is a weaponization of justice against the Trump family that every American should fear." That statement was shared 2.4 million times on social media. Ivanka Trump trended for 11 hours on Friday. Money-raising emails went out in 30 minutes. Prosecutors answered through a spokesperson. The proof speaks for itself. This office does not talk about political words. Then the judge gave an unusual order. She stopped both sides from making public statements that could affect possible jurors from now on. Partial rule against talking, starting right away. That means Ivanka cannot keep going on TV, cannot keep saying this is political, cannot raise money directly from the case. Her team fought back. They filed an emergency request Sunday night. It was denied this morning. The order stays. So now she is limited, cannot travel outside the country, cannot speak in public about the case, cannot leave the Southern District of New York without court. Okay. From running businesses around the world last month to having GPS tracking this week. No slowing down, things are speeding up. The defense filed 3 requests on Saturday to fight the passport take, the talking ban, and the device give-back time. All are waiting. Judge's answer expected by Wednesday. What is still not clear? 1. What exactly did Melania say? The full record is partly hidden. We have parts from prosecutors' papers, not the whole 2 hours. 2. Why did Melania help? No protection deal is shown. No charges against her mentioned. She went in on her own. That does not happen without a reason. Federal court has a meeting set for Wednesday, February 11th. Ivanka's team will probably ask to change travel limits. Prosecutors are said to be getting more papers ready for the court. Date to watch Friday, February 13th. That is the deadline for giving devices. Whatever is on those laptops and phones goes into the proof. If deleted messages exist, experts will find them. If secret apps were used, prosecutors will see. If the messages match what Melania said, the case gets stronger. If not, defense gets strong points. Friday is the turning point. We should know more then. Also coming, grand jury meets again Thursday, February 12th. More charges could still come. The charges we see might not be the last ones. Subscribe. I will cover the Wednesday meeting and the Friday deadline. This story is moving quickly. Many changes expected just this week. Hit subscribe. Turn on alerts. When the next papers come, I will explain them the same way. Where things stand right now. Ivanka Trump passport taken. $15 million bond. GPS tracking on. Melania Trump statement done. No charges against her. Order to give devices. Deadline Wednesday, February 11th. Trial date not set yet. More charges possible. Grand jury meeting Thursday scheduled. Wednesday, February 11th. Status meeting. Hearing on defense requests. Thursday, February 12th. Grand jury meeting. Friday, February 13th. Device give-back deadline. Monday, February 16th. Expected answer from prosecutors to defense requests. Not public yet. Full Melania statement record. Defense list of witnesses. Possible help deals with others. Time is running. Defense has 4 days to hand over devices. 4 days to get changes to the talking ban. 4 days before grand jury might add charges. At the same time, prosecutors have what they need to move forward. They are not waiting. This case moved faster in 5 days than some cases do in 5 months. That is on purpose. When they take a passport, they are telling everyone, including the person charged, that they mean business. They are serious. That is where things stand. Ivanka Trump is limited, tracked, fighting in many ways. Simple view, former White House advisor facing serious federal charges. But Melania's part is still the biggest story, why she helped, what she really said, if it holds up. The device giveback will show if prosecutors have matching proof or just words. I will watch Wednesday's meeting. How the judge sounds matters. How she deals with defense requests will show where this is going. Story not finished. Still happening. What we know, proof is large. Family part is new and different. Both sides are fighting hard. What we do not know, if any of this leads to a guilty finding. Cases like this have fallen apart before. Famous people, political pressure, strong charges that could not finish. This one might be different. The papers are unusual. The witness is very rare. But we are only in chapter 2 of a long story. Subscribe for the whole view, not just headlines. When papers come out, I will explain them. When the Wednesday meeting happens, I will give my thoughts. Stay updated. Talk soon.